For the men of the 101st Airborne Division, the liberation of Europe would be measured not in miles gained, but in bridges held along a single, vulnerable road. In September 1944, the Screaming Eagles were tasked with defending a 62-mile corridor of Dutch highway, a slender lifeline that would earn the grim nickname Hell's Highway. Their mission was to protect the advance of the British XXX Corps in the largest airborne operation in history, Operation Market Garden. The ambitious plan, conceived by Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, aimed to vault Allied forces across the Rhine River and into the German industrial heartland. On September 17th, over 1,500 transport aircraft and nearly 500 gliders delivered the U.S. 101st and 82nd Airborne and the British 1st Airborne into the Netherlands. The 101st's drop zones were around the towns of Sun, Veghel, and Eindhoven. Their objective was to seize and hold the bridges over the Wilhelmina and Zuid-Willemsvaart canals and the Dommel and Aa rivers, a series of concrete and steel choke points along the single-paved road running from the Belgian border to Arnhem. The division, under Major General Maxwell Taylor, was lightly equipped for airborne warfare, carrying the 30-caliber M1 Garand rifle, the 30-caliber M1919A6 machine gun, and the 2.36-inch bazooka. They faced elements of the German 15th Army, including veteran paratroopers of the 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment and armored units refitting in the area. The defense of Hell's Highway became a brutal, decentralized battle of small units. The 101st was stretched impossibly thin along the corridor. German attacks were constant and came from multiple directions, aiming to cut the road at any point. At Sun, paratroopers fought to rebuild a destroyed bridge under 88mm fire. At Veghel, the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, including Easy Company, repelled repeated assaults by German infantry supported by Sturmgeschütz 3 assault guns. The fighting was close quarters and relentless. Resupply was a deadly gamble. C-47 Dakotas braved intense flak to drop ammunition bundles, while truck convoys from the south had to run a gauntlet of ambushes. The British armored column, the XXX Corps, was delayed by the narrow road, destroyed bridges, and fierce German resistance at every turn. This left the airborne troops holding their isolated positions for days longer than planned, without the heavy support they were promised. The weather turned, grounding Allied air support and turning the Dutch fields into a quagmire. Ultimately, Operation Market Garden failed. The British 1st Airborne Division was destroyed at Arnhem, and the Allies were halted south of the Rhine. However, the 101st Airborne's performance on Hell's Highway was a tactical success within that strategic defeat. They held every bridge assigned to them for the duration of the operation, against forces that often outnumbered and outgunned them. Their tenacious defense allowed the XXX Corps to advance as far as it did and enabled the evacuation of surviving British paratroopers from Arnhem. The battle forged the division's identity, proving its ability to operate independently in a dispersed, defensive role against combined arms attacks. The 62-mile gauntlet of Hell's Highway demonstrated the extreme vulnerability of airborne forces without rapid link-up, a hard lesson that would inform Allied planning for the remainder of the war. The Screaming Eagles earned their reputation not just as shock troops who could seize an objective, but as unyielding defenders who could hold the line against all odds.